Hello, and welcome to Twitch Tuesdays.
And are we recording too?
Yes, I am recording. We're recording. I'm here. I'm not Ben. I'm Erin. I'm the Scholarly Communications Librarian. We have Ben and Michelle in chat as well.
Hello, everyone.
I'm so excited. There was so much hype around this game, and it's an indie game as well, and mythology, so this is a very...
And mythology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so today I'm playing Hades. This is, initially when I heard about this game, I thought it was going to be all dark and gloomy. You know, Hades, underworld. But it's not. Look at this.
I mean, the blood is so bright.
Hey, look at how friendly this god is. Let me, oh my gosh. I have some fun facts on my other screen that I'll have open.
Yeah. And also, yeah, so as with every time, if folks do have research or reference questions or things you want to know about, feel free to let us know. Drop those in the chat, but otherwise we just have some fun facts and things to chat about prepared as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, welcome to the House of Hades. This is Zagreus, son of Hades and Persephone. Here he is in front of his portrait. Oh, I should say, disclaimer, this is late game. I've beaten the game, but you can keep playing it. So if you're playing Hades, there will be some spoilers about how things resolve. Yeah, so I thought we could do a little tour of the House of Hades and say hello to anyone who's home today. And then we'll do an escape attempt. So the premise of this game is you're escaping from Hades, pictured here, because...
oh my gosh, look at that good boy. Sorry.
Guess what? You can pet the... You can talk.
That's the fanciest Clifford I've ever seen. Oh, I know.
You can also pet the dog.
Oh.
Yeah, look at him. He's a good boy. So yeah, so you're escaping Hades, and then basically in this late game, you're still doing it just to test the defenses of the house, because you don't want these other shades escaping. Only me. Usually your mother, Persephone, is here. She's at home. It must be springtime.
Okay, wait, so it has like seasonal cycles?
Not so much seasonal cycles, but every time you get back, so when you get to the surface in Hades, you eventually die because you are of the underworld and not of the overworld. And you come back, and basically there's different people who are home all the time. So this is Achilles.
Oh, okay.
He stands in the corner up here.
Okay.
He's pretty dramatic.
Yeah, accurate.
Yeah, accurate. Speedy boy. Sometimes Thanatos, god of, yeah, he lives down here. He's at work. He's my boyfriend. He's Zagreus' boyfriend. I wooed him. We'll see if he shows up later. We have Hypnos, god of sleep.
Let me be the first to say congratulations.
That's also a mood.
Yeah.
No prize for it or anything, but the journey is its own reward.
So one of the interesting things too, if I'm not mistaken about this game, is that it's kind of like it's kind of punishing that whenever you die, you have to go back to the start, but
Yeah.
it still progresses the story.
Yes, exactly. So it keeps going. It's like progressive. Every time you die, you come out, and then Hypnos will roast you if you died in an embarrassing way. The first time I got to the fire plane, Asphodel, I didn't know that you could walk into lava and kill yourself, so I did that, and then Hypnos had words to say about it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, that's fair to be confused about. You walked out of lava, or maybe it was blood. Maybe you walked out of blood at the beginning.
Yeah, right? And then, like, look, I'm trying to run into it, and the game stops you, but then when it's lava, it's fair game.
I think it's kind of interesting, right? Just like before, when I was talking about Final Fantasy XIV, like the themes of like hope and perseverance and overcoming things. These kinds of roguelike games, like Hades, reward you for even messing up with more story. It's not just a frustrating thing, but it is more built into how you progress the narrative. Is even if you make mistakes, you're still exploring the world in interesting ways.
Exactly, and it's it got to a point where like the game part is fun, but I was like rushing through it because I wanted to see like give a gift to my friends to see if they had a new dialogue, or oh, I have fish to sell. There's
Any fish to sell.
like any good game, you can pet the dog, and there's a fishing mini game. So really, I highly recommend this game.
All right, we've got a question, or Melly has a question.
Yeah.
What is the game about? We keep interrupting you, so you never finish.
Oh yeah, it's all good.
It's true.
Hello, shall I have my dwarf? Yeah, so you play as Zagreus. Oh,
Hey, what do you know?
I am the servant. I am employee of the month. You play as Zagreus, who is the son of Hades, the god of death. And the original premise is you're trying to escape to the overworld, to Greece. Yeah, so you're escaping to Greece.
Actually, there, Hades is the god of the dead, and Thanatos. Marvel ruined me.
That's true. Thanatos. How can I confused my father and my boyfriend? Yeah, so you're escaping Hades to get to the overworld, originally to meet your mother, Persephone, who was there in her garden, but now she moved back home because you reunited, you parent trapped your parents, basically. So now everyone's reunited, it's a big happy family, and you're just escaping the underworld just to test the defenses. There's a nice little... Oh, there she is! This is my mother.
May not have all the varieties
Okay.
available up on the surface. But it's coming along rather nicely, I should say.
You only grow pomegranates in the underworld.
Yeah.
And we have our Olympus statue.
What the real Olympus is
Yeah.
like.
And why might it only be pomegranates?
Stockholm syndrome. That's why.
Well, if I remember correctly, in the original myth, the pomegranate plays an important role in Persephone's relationship with Hades,
My very own chthonic
if I'm not
companion.
mistaken.
Oh yes, let's do learny things. So the original myth, let's get into that, is Persephone, who was not yet known as Persephone. She was Kore, which is Greek for young woman, was the daughter of Demeter, goddess of fertility and mostly in terms of the earth and the harvest at that point, and sister of Zeus. So Kore is hanging out with her handmaidens one day, and Hades sees her and falls in love and kidnaps her and brings her to the underworld. And while she is there, she is tempted into eating, well, I mean, the story's a bit longer. She goes through and she meets Sisyphus and tries to help him, and it only makes the torment worse. It's really a weird addition to the story. Yeah. Oh, yes. Zeus did give him permission. That's a good point. It's only later that Zeus has to do a bit of a whoopsie about this. Zeus gives his brother permission to kidnap
Yeah, ancient Greek gender politics were problematic sometimes, shall we say?
At best.
So, also Hades' niece, but let's not think about that. So Persephone is kidnapped to the underworld. Yes, incest was a lifestyle among the Olympians. And she sometimes just eats the pomegranate seeds, and sometimes is tricked into eating the pomegranate seeds, and sometimes it's 6 months, and sometimes it's 4 months. But the point is that those are the months she has to stay in the underworld later, although that's not decided yet. So Demeter goes to Zeus once she finds out that this has happened. And earlier, Hera had actually started a bit of a revolt against Zeus. Zeus was all tied up, couldn't activate his super godly powers, and Demeter helped him out. So Zeus owed Demeter a favor. So after giving permission, he had to kind of retract the statement. Thetis as well, yes. Thetis, Zeus's mother, who also saved him from originally being eaten by his Titan father. So Demeter goes to Zeus and gets this favor. Persephone, not quite, well, Kore is brought back up. Hades says, no, she ate the fruit of the underworld, either 4 or 6 pomegranate seeds. So Zeus says, okay, well, the number of pomegranate seeds is the number of months that she has to stay. beneath the earth with Hades. And once Kore is the wife of Hades, in that capacity, her role becomes Persephone, which has a much more hardcore. Oh, yes, you're right. Thetis is Achilles' nymph mother, Hephaestus' foster mother.
I was gonna be like, I know Thetis from Song of Achilles, and I didn't realize that was the relationship.
So yes, please, actually me on this. So now becomes Persephone, which is geez, I should have looked this up earlier, but and please actually me on this as well. I believe bringer of darkness or chaos, one of those two things. She's a lot more hardcore as the queen of Hades. And so she has to stay for either 4 or 6 months of the year, and that's why we have either 4 or 6 months of winter, depending on where you live and who's counting.
Depending on if it snowed where you live today.
Yes!
Like it did here over the weekend.
Yeah. Before I start escaping the underworld, I want to show off my collectibles. We have, I'll use this to kind of introduce, we can find all the Greek gods, because you can, based on which one you carry around with you, you can summon various gods to your aid. And then these are from your bestest friends. So we've got Megara, the Fury. We've got Thanatos. Oh yeah, so she's your girlfriend. And then Thanatos is your boyfriend, if you want to play it the polyamorous way.
Cool. I like those that they have that option.
Yeah, so look at how cute. And then this is from Sisyphus and the Boulder. Hilarious.
Oh,
this is from Skelly, who you just watched me kill in cold blood.
Cool.
This is from Dusa, the little
Okay, he doesn't have blood.
Medusa that lives in the house. And then this is from Achilles and Patroclus, because in this house it's Patroclus' season. So, and then these are your weapons. Any thoughts?
Yeah.
I'll use anything except the railgun is hilarious, but I don't like it. So I'll use anything else.
Ancient Greek railgun.
Yeah, like
You know, historically accurate.
I'll use the spear.
We've got a question in the comments. Megara the Fury ? Is she a Fury in this game? I am thinking of her in the Hercules movie, and that is notably the most accurate.
Oh, Melly says both.
I'll have to use a bow.
I'll use a bow.
Megara, like the Furies that I'm familiar with, like I remember reading was it Euripides? No.
Chiron.
Yeah.
The Oresteia? No, Euripides was the Oresteia. That was
The Orestia has the Fury.
The Orestia has the Furies, but does it name them?
I did. So in this game, and then according to Wikipedia, so I mean, I know that's bad for a librarian,
Aeschylus, yes.
but it was Megara, Tisiphone, and the third one.
Alecto?
Yeah, Alecto. I was going to say Emily will know.
Yeah, but that was kind of interesting because I don't know, like, so like the Furies. I vaguely remember reading the Oresteia. Like they were just kind of like primeval, you know, of like the old social ties and the old ties of like kith and blood feuds was the way they were associated with.
Yeah, we read the Orestia in our jurisprudence class.
Oh, it's fascinating.
Yeah, it was the idea of the old kith and blood feud laws and emotion versus the reason of Apollo.
Oh yeah, all team Clytemnestra. Yeah, the valid take.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. I read it and it was like, oh, Clytemnestra is the bad guy in this. How is Clytemnestra the bad guy in dude murdered your daughter? And then of course you axe murder him in the tub and get a new boyfriend.
Yeah. Indeed. But it's sorry.
Oh no, keep going. I was just gonna say, so far we've met Artemis, the goddess of maidens and archery. And if you ask an asexual, the goddess of asexuals.
Oh,
that's canon. And now we have Chaos. they're kind of weird. They just okay. Their boons also give you damage. Let's see.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding of the ancient Greek struggle with the concept of nothing was that the ancient Greek term for chaos also meant nothing, because it would seem to be kind of a confused concept at its core, as opposed to say in traditional Hindu thought where nothing was more of an entity. I don't know if more folks are more familiar with ancient Greek kind of metaphysics, but that was my memory of it. So the concept of chaos itself is tied in with nothingness as a concept, because it would seem to be self-contradictory.
Yeah, Aaron, I think we were saying, or you were saying that you wanted to talk a bit about translations, and one of the most interesting words in my undergraduate that we translated, or worked on a translation for, was hebel. So that's very similar. It comes up in the Old Testament, so it's Hebrew, but it can mean chaos, and it can mean void, and it can mean nothing, and it's super contextual and very hard for a person today to accurately say that's absolutely the meaning that they were going for.
Interesting.
I was thinking about adaptations and stuff because most of what I know about Greek mythology I've learned from this game and the Percy Jackson books, which I reread them after I read The Song of Achilles this winter because I was really excited about everything. They hold up really good. Oh, and...
So, I have actually read the Percy Jackson books. I feel like I've been missing out on a cultural moment there.
They're also making a Disney Plus series, and they announced the casting for Percy earlier today. And they nailed it. It's actually someone who looks like they're a young adult, like a teenager.
As opposed to that, as
opposed to someone who's 30 years old.
The movie's so bad. That was such a bummer.
Yeah. But I think it sounds like the show's gonna be good.
Yeah. I think I heard the author was actually excited about it as opposed to the movie.
As opposed to the movie.
Good.
I know it's a little unrelated, but I was a big Artemis Fowl fan as a kid.
Oh my god, don't get me started about that one. I know where this is going.
I think the worst ones for me in my life were Artemis Fowl and Dragon Ball, when they did Dragon Ball Evolution. I got a little bit.
Yeah. Man, Artemis Fowl was disappointing. When they opened it up with him surfing, I knew it was going to be a ride. I apologize that you like it. I'm sure it was good if you weren't heavily invested in the books for the entirety of your teenage years. I don't like any of these. Let's see.
Yeah.
Strong stuff. Good.
Cool.
Here's Charon the boatman.
Oh yeah, Charon. Good old.
Here's his boat. Sometimes you can steal from him and then fight him in single combat.
Yeah, can we punch him and take the boat?
Yeah. Sometimes, if we see his money, I will definitely steal it. But he's the hardest boss.
Okay, we're not gonna play Grand Theft Sticks then.
I'm glad that was sarcasm because I was low-key judging you a little bit. Even though I wasn't gonna say.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Wow. Greek mythology is really interesting for adaptations because it's been adapted so many times and considered a classic, so everyone had to read it. So it was I know the word Western is trickier than some people make it out to be, but basically completely known in the Western world. So you read a lot of especially romantic poetry trying to harken written in the old Lord Byron and Keats days. And it'll just reference it and obviously everyone knows this is a thing. So we're at that stage of, and sometimes what we think we know is not great. So the adaptation will just pull from what we think we know, so we get Disney Hades.
Yeah.
One of the adaptations I thought was really interesting was Hades Town, the musical. I don't know if folks are familiar with that.
People keep telling me to listen to it. I have not yet.
I quite enjoy it. You can like listen to it on YouTube and stuff.
But he really keeps getting portrayed as really confused with biblical Satan because he is the master of the underworld.
Yeah.
Ellis has a great video on that. It's one of her loose cannon videos. Which one is the god of sloth? I don't know.
Oh my!
Is there? I guess Hypnos is the god of sleep. That might be closest.
Should be
I think, yeah.
Hypnosis. We've got another fun adaptation was the graphic novel that interprets the Hades Persephone romance. I would be down for that.
Oh, you know what? Maybe someone here will know, but like years ago, when I was maybe like 12 or 13, there was a book that I got from the public library, and I was never able to find it again. That was, I think, from the perspective of Hades. And it was like a retelling for like 9 to 12 book, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was though, and I always kind of remembered it, and it was a good. Oh, here he is, the king of the gods himself.
Oh, my. Great. This
He's
is
been-
the thing.
He's been on Pinterest.
He's not.
Nope.
What's fun is that when you first woo Thanatos, every time you talk to a god, they're telling you what a great match you guys are. But they didn't say anything about Meg.
Oh,
So they were all shipped. They all shipped you.
I see.
Was it from Scholastic? I don't remember. That's the thing. This was so long ago. But I was doing the thing that people do to librarians, where it's like, hey, I read this book 15 years ago, and it was about Hades. Can you?
Yeah.
I had that today. I don't want to make fun of him because the kid was nice, and he was like, "It's there's a criminal law book and the cover is red," and I was like, don't feel embarrassed. This is a lot." I'm getting that question.
Yeah. Yeah, no, going back on the whole, like, you know, coding Greek characters at gods as, you know, like the devil, or like with a Christian kind of like overlay. There's a lot of interesting things about like Greek myths that like don't necessarily tack on easily to the way they're often portrayed, right? Like these gods had multifarious kind of forms and domains. It's like when, you know, if you read the Odyssey for the first time, and like, what is Odysseus's beef with Poseidon? Why does Poseidon care so much about the Cyclops? Like, you know, like in some of the kind of like early Greek stories, you almost have this like heaven, like Poseidon is almost like the god of earth, like Zeus is heaven, Poseidon is all of earth, and the concept of like this world, and Hades is the underworld. Like there's different ways that their domains are mapped on. I think sometimes like our Dungeons and Dragons kind of take on mythology and like folklore and old religion is kind of like the gods have these very tidy and oftentimes opposing domains, when I mean Greek history was so long and incorporated so many features that they often have much more overlapping domains or kind of like complex domains. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Odysseus shouldn't have given the Cyclops his address, though. Like, if you're going to be trolling online, you don't want to be doing that.
We've got Melly says, "Who's the teeth? Who is the teeth?
Please be Meg.
Who be the teeth?
Which
Were you
teeth?
fighting teeth?"
Not quite.
I don't think so. I think everyone you're fighting, they're just so who you're fighting are like.
Megara got mixed up with you. For all her weakness,
Get a screenshot of this.
at least she took her job
Lecto,
here
there we go.
seriously.
The one with the whip.
God of teeth.
Live and learn.
There we go. Those are teeth.
Oh, who is the god of
It's about
teeth?
Electo.
Oh, the god of teeth.
I don't think there is one.
Yeah. Trying to think like which is the crunchiest of gods.
You've got.
I mean, wouldn't that be Kronos?
We're just throwing it. Yeah. Oh yeah, Kronos. That's the gross answer. I like that.
That's what I'm here for. No, oh, cool.
Does Electo only have one wing? What am I looking at?
I'm not sure. She so all three of the Furies, like a different one will come fight you every time, and they all have different powers. So this one rages, and then one of them you're trying to teach how to say your name because all she'll say is murder. And then there's the one that's your girlfriend. So she does not go easy on you.
Good.
Another fun thing about this game is that you start off, if you have it in God mode, which I do, because I love myself, you, every time you die, you get 2% damage resistance. So I'm at 90% damage resistance right now.
Oh wow. Shall I have my door fast? How do you switch weapons without going to the weapon room?
You don't. You just, you pick a weapon and then you're with it for the rest of that run, for that escape run. The bow is hard. I'm much better with the, oh, my book of lore was updated. Oh. Yeah, so there's the bow and the railgun are both difficult. My favorite are the punching gloves.
Cool.
And now we replenish. So now we're between regions of the underworld. That was the final boss of that region. So we can pick a new. Who haven't we met yet?
Kabasira, that's a very funny comment, but I have to deny putting it on here because we're strange.
It's not inaccurate though.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't afford fishing. I can't afford any of this.
Up we go then.
So these are interesting game mechanics because I remember playing Majora's Mask and I DNF'd it because I hate the mechanic of starting back at the beginning with no progression. And I'm not good at puzzle games, which I should not admit in a live
No, it's fine. But yeah, like I think the thing that got me interested in Hades, even though it's like is kind of a punishing game in that way, is that you still get to interact with new story beats or things when you die. Like I feel like that element of novelty would give me more patience for it, whereas in other situations I might not have patience for it.
That's definitely true. Yeah, because you're still like, no matter where you die, things are still happening. This is the lava that I was talking about that you can just walk into. So that definitely killed me immediately the first time I made it this far. These guys are also brutal.
Oh yeah. Going back to just like legal matters and the Orestia, sorry,
the Orestia.
The Orestia, sorry, yeah.
I say in my extremely nasal North American accent. This is also how my dad speaks French. Ah oui, je parle français. Come on, the Orestia.
But like, if I remember correctly, like that series of tragedies has a straight up like Deus Ex Machina, where Athena comes down and basically says, "I don't listen to women." She specifically says in matters of like the justice or something, I always side with the man, which like is why the Furies don't have their way. Which like again thinking about like legal policies and the ways that like different genders and rationality are viewed, and really reflects like the way that Athena treated Medusa. Right? You talked about having a little Medusa toy.
Athena said, "I don't listen to women."
Yeah, I will say about this one though, the Orestia, as with a lot of these things, right? So a lot of the ones I'm leaning away from the phone. That's not good. A lot of the tellings that we have come from Ovid, and this one in particular, the Orestia, it takes a myth and it's a retelling of that myth. It's a play by Aristophanes.
Yeah. So
it's the only version of the myth that Medusa was innocent. Garbage. It's the only full retelling of that myth that we have. It might not be exactly like. I sort of doubt that in the original myth they put all of that extra philosophy in there, other than to say like, yeah, and so we don't do murdering each other anymore as a form of justice. We have this, more enlightened thing. Yes, arguably there is no original myth because it's just built upon thousands of years of oral tradition. The versions that we have are from people who had agendas. Like, Ovid did not like people in power, and he was in Athens, which means he probably put a lot of nasty words in Athena's mouth because she was the goddess who represented Athens and the power structure there. And he's the main scholarly source, or the main source that scholars use for the Medusa story, for example. So this is that critical analysis of literary information that we were talking about earlier. It's important to question your sources.
Understanding the purpose for which it was created. Because if I remember correctly, there were like Medusa, like icons of Medusa were also about childbirth, and then just like sex workers, like protecting sex workers. Like so she had a talismanic role. Like this is more from like artifact evidence rather than textual evidence.
Yeah, we have some material culture stuff suggesting that there were other types of stories, but we don't have those stories anymore, unfortunately. Melly wants to know if you can teleport, Aaron. Can you teleport?
I can't teleport. I can dash I can dash more now because I got a boon from the god of speed.
Ooh. Is that Hermes?
It's Hermes. Look at how fast I can go. I do the speed. I really like Hermes in this game. He also gives me a lot of money.
Correlation or causation?
I heard about, sorry, I'm reading the chat, not explaining it, but Shall I Have My Dwarf said if you've read the Emily Wilson translation of the Odyssey, she gets into how the translation was influenced by sexism.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I read it back like, oh god, I'm dating myself, like
Let's get out of
12, 13 years ago.
I'm glad that she's doing the Iliad, because...
I'm curious to read the Iliad after reading the Song of Achilles, but I just don't know if I can bring myself, knowing that, because when I read it, and there's like a bit, and it's just an afterthought at the end of the book where Achilles fights the river, and my sister was like, yeah, that's a whole thing, that's like a whole book. I'm like, seriously? That was like a paragraph. It's like, and then Achilles fought a river because he was sad.
Interesting.
I love Poseidon in this game. He's such a bro.
Ran toward the surface from the depths of my seas to the heights of...
I agree that should be his accent. But also in the lowest way possible.
Yes, I do.
Oh, should I do the challenge? What's the challenge?
Yeah.
Challenge.
Choo.
Bro side.
I mean, yeah. It is like foundational to a lot of things. The Iliad and the Odyssey. And again, like so much of it was written, was just oral for so long, right? Like we're pretty sure that, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're pretty sure that, oh wow, author, attributed author of the Iliad and Odyssey,
Homer?
I'm blanking.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Wasn't a real person.
That was the magnet.
If correct me if I'm wrong, but like.
Question mark, anything from that long ago with, no written sources is questionable. Same with it, some people were thinking it's a similar issue to Ragnar Lothbrok, which is probably wasn't a single person, but a compilation of people. But people point out lots of famous authors too. You know, people say, well, no one says Shakespeare wasn't real, but people say Shakespeare didn't write.
Some people do, if I remember. Wasn't there a whole like group of things like Christopher Marlowe did all of it? It's a very small group.
Yeah. Sorry, I was laughing about the comment about Achilles being a which accurate. Which I was very surprised when I read the song of Achilles, because in this game he's your divorced gay dad, as it's been put. It's just very opposite energy. I would like to introduce you all to Lerny, the Bone Hydra. Lerny. It had a real name at one point, and then Zagreus just decided to call him Lerny. So.
Things?
Or you as Zagreus.
Oh, like in the game, Zagreus was like, "Hey, if I'm allowed to call you Lerny, just roar at me." And of course, it always roars when you enter this room. I forget what it was originally called.
And that's how myths mutate.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
There it is.
Lernian Bone Hydra. Leah, I'm pronouncing that wrong. Again, everything I say will be with my extremely nasal accent.
So does Zagreus himself have any connections to the myths?
Interestingly,
Sarah?
so I was reading about this yesterday because I assumed that it was a character created for this game. And apparently in some myths, who haven't we met yet? Zagreus is, so it's in certain myths only that there's a son of of Hades and Persephone, and in some it's a version of Dionysus, but it was only in certain things. Let me just see here. I wrote it down on my other thing here. Or a son of Zeus and Persephone. Yeah, Orphic myths. That's what it was. Thank you.
Yes, the mystery cults and all that.
So so it was a totally different thing. Because I thought it was a character just created for this game so that you could just, play as somebody interesting.
Yeah, the whole Orphic myths are kind of interesting in the way in which the mystery cults ritually had this kind of going down into the underworld and then re-emerging. I don't know if it's tied in with secret societies and the Freemasons and all that and the skull and crossbones iconography, but a lot of it goes back to these people trying to reference those Orphic mystery cults that often are connected with Dionysus. These themes of death and rebirth and emerging from the underworld.
Dionysus was scary. Scary. A city made him mad, and he just ruined that city.
That's fascinating as far as adaptations go, because now he's the bro drunk guy. Right? He's not a scary thing. He's just, he's the dude bro god. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, fun. We've got a fun fact in the chat. The Mayan had Orpheus apart. Yeah, Greek mythology is often just really
a lot of dismemberment. Yeah. I remember that also. I was first introduced to that in Neil Gaiman's Sandman, because in that story, Orpheus is the son of Sandman. Of Dream of the Endless.
Well, I mean, that whole series was terrifying.
Valid.
Nelly wants
Where are we? So, in the other two regions the first area was Tartarus, which is where it's the lowest part of the underworld, so where the really bad people go. And then the middle region is Asphodel, where most people go. It's just kind of the middle ground. This is Elysium, where the best warriors are. So it was where you wanted to go in ancient Greece. So the things that we fight here are champions and strong warriors of
Good stuff.
strong warriors of the underworld.
Sarah says, but even in Percy Jackson, Dionysus threatened people with insanity.
That's true. He was kind of.
Yeah. I remember in Euripides the Bat Guy, right? Straight up, he drives the ruler of a city insane because the ruler of the city, Pentheus, won't permit disorder in his city. It's kind of this interesting lesson about permitting some disorder into your society so that you don't invite even worse disorder. It was kind of this. That's what I got from the messaging from Euripides the Bacchae anyway. I don't know if other people have read it. I see. Even more unforgivable. And he was also disrespected Dionysus' mother.
It's sort of similar there to Aristotle's idea of catharsis, where the plays were so important because you have to get the emotions out, you know? You're fighting a balloon now?
They're these butterfly balls. They're the worst. I had to focus. I'm glad we had multiple people here, so we can vamp when I'm trying to not.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think in ancient Greece, butterfly was Psyche, which is also associated with the mind and the soul, because the soul was identified with the butterflies and left the body, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, true. Oh, that explains these things, because I thought it was just for aesthetic purposes. And then these are the warriors of Elysium.
Yeah. Oh, you did the gender expression theme of the Bacchae too, yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to Mirabelle drop? Sorry. Do you want to expand on that? Because I don't know about that.
Pause as there's typing on the...
Yeah. Everyone's watching you type.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Prepare.
Oh, I think we're getting the right.
Prepare. I was gonna say, also, I know this person, so she can always send me things later if you don't want to right now.
Yeah, because I do remember, Dionysus is more associated with women, and
all the followers, or the Maenads.
Yeah.
Is that
and,
so? Is a wine mob joke appropriate? Sorry. We're gonna see the viewers leave now.
but Pentheus also had to dress up as a woman.
Yes, party. Even Achilles had to dress up as a woman for a while.
There you go. Variable drops. Dionysus is a largely gender-fluid person in general, but the interesting aspect of Bacchae is also the presentation of Pentheus as being trapped in masculinity until Dionysus affects him. That's interesting. Yeah. Do we get any of that, like gender reflections in Hades as a game?
I'm not about Dionysus. There is, chaos is... I don't think chaos is personified in original myth, but they're personified as genderless, because they're just just an ancient being, predating gender.
That does make sense. You're just... Well, again, we're getting into that translation of chaos and the void and nothing as also the progenitor of everything.
Yeah, because that's what the role of the Titans played, right? They were kind of these more unstructured principles of nature, kind of wilder and I think one's the Roman, one's the Greek. I think Dionysus is Greek and Bacchus is Roman. Yeah. Or no? Yeah.
Woohoo! Palm of power. I want it to be leader palms, though.
Yes.
Can you fight people with your leader palms?
Can you what? Sorry.
Bacchus is also used in Greek.
Fight people with your leader palms.
Okay, the Bacchae was a group, right? It was the Dionysus's, crew.
Look, it's our two dads.
Oh, good stuff.
Achilles is allowed to visit Patroclus now.
Yay!
And then you buy things, and they're like, please leave us alone. We're in the middle of stuff. So we just go about our day.
Yeah.
Achaeans are the Menaids, or followers of. Yeah, there's a lot of like different word terms for the same kind of groups or people or concepts. Again, because these myths cover such a huge span of time and interpretations.
And then the Bacchanalia was the party.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You wouldn't hang with me given the choice.
Support fire.
You sorted, man. But you just
I like after all this discussion about how about how evil and or dangerous Dionysus is, and now he's like, you didn't want to hang out with me? I'm gonna try and kill you now.
Yeah, that seems to be on brand.
Oh my god, they were teammates also.
Oh. Oh my.
Yeah, modern interpretations of Greek mythology are again interesting because we have different interpretations of sexuality. We actually had to learn. I remember sitting in philosophy class. What was I reading? It was one of Plato's shorter works, and I think it was the one about love.
Oh.
The one
Phaedra?
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really uncomfortable to do in class.
Yeah, I can understand why. I read it ages ago now.
For
Is-
many reasons.
Is that the pickup line book?
Oh no, it's
Okay.
about love and, well, you know, the dudes in Athens thought it was okay to have sex with underage. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Talking about like it's okay. I can intellectualize my attraction to young
Yeah,
boys.
that was it.
Like Plato. Yeah. That's that book.
We had to learn the word. Our philosophy professor had to stand up at the front of class and like look at us all in the eyes and go, "Does anyone know what a catamite is?"
Oh my.
No, we're all 18. What's that? Like there were different, even legal or pseudo-legal terms surrounding sex back in those days and sexuality. Just not something many people care to look at, but it's very interesting how sex was involved in, or sexuality was defined by the legal system at the time.
Oh yeah, and like it also had like certain social roles in terms of like this was your protege. There was kind of an expectation that you like did things with them or helped their education on top of the sexual dynamics, as I understand it.
Yeah, it was a whole different dynamic. And boy, if I'm teaching plot, like I understand that it was half of it was Socrates and Plato and half of it was Aristotle, wouldn't have done it. I couldn't have stood up in front of a class.
Yeah. Oh, that's a lot of very effective times.
Shall I have my dwarf? Says Melly says make peas.
Make peace.
Make peas.
Oh no. Unfortunately, Theseus is the worst, so I must finish him.
Oh, yeah.
There's a great deal of memes about this game and about how much Theseus is the worst.
I mean, is it based on the mythology, or does he just really suck in the game?
He's just the worst in the game.
Oh.
He's just like, all you do is fight him here. He's like, again, blocking you from escaping the underworld. But he's such a tool.
I see.
Accurate.
I have so many screenshots. All of my screenshots from this game are just Theseus insulting me.
Oh my.
And then there's something you can do, which is you can make the game harder for yourself once you've escaped. I didn't do it this time because otherwise it would have been too long. But you can give Theseus armor. Here's my one fan. You can give Theseus like a gold set of armor and a chariot, and he just looks ridiculous.
Good stuff. Cabecera says, fun fact, the Minotaur's real name is Asterius.
I shall stop you by my
Did you learn that from reading Cersei? That's where I learned it.
I learned that from this game because he didn't talk this time because it gets talked over by Theseus, but sometimes he'll talk to you.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
and the machine gun. Yes.
Yes. They would have killed me with the bow, I think, though.
should help keep me going.
So now we have made it to the surface, but we still have to get out of the Temple of Styx, which is being guarded by a very good boy who we met earlier,
Aha.
Cerberus.
Do we have to fight the very good boy?
We don't. Instead, what we do is we have to find him a treat so that he'll leave his post.
Oh, excellent.
Aha. Good stuff.
I like that.
No
So,
good boys are harmed in the making of this.
yeah, you can pet the dog. Yeah, there.
I hate video games where they make you, like, fight the dogs or the wolves or something. And then
Yeah.
they make them make sad noises
Yeah.
as you're... Oh, that's the worst.
Fallout New Vegas is hard for me in that regard. Because there's a lot of dogs in that game.
Oh, Kevin Sarah said they read it from a Japanese adaptation of Greek myths. Boy, that's interesting.
I played a little bit of Dark Souls 1, Cabecera, but I found my anxiety was pretty rough. So I'm a little bit more curious. No Caldwell Gervais just released a long video on Dark Souls that I thought was interesting.
I'm not good enough at games to play Dark Souls. Every time I start a new Minecraft world, I'm like, I'm not gonna turn cheats on, and then I die, and then I turn cheats on to go get my stuff.
You're right, okay, I have seen that, Cabecera, the giant dog that at some point in the battle actually picks up a sword with its giant dog mouth and, like, wields a sword at you as well.
I was so sad. It popped up because I watched too many video essays. A video essay on Sif the dog and this whole terrible, sad backstory.
Oh, wow.
That Sif the dog, he's actually just like a really good boy who doesn't want bad things to happen, and you have to kill him, and he makes that. Do it. I can't do it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's right. Well, the average, you've played all through the various Dark Souls games.
Oh, the giant sword is her old knight friend's last gift. Oh god, no, I can't.
Which I think, don't you, I mean, spoilers for Dark Souls, but aren't you the one who, like, killed her old knight friend?
Well, I think the knight got corrupted, and the dog actually doesn't want more people to get corrupted. It's part of why she's fighting it. Like, oh my gosh. Oh, Melly wants you to make peas with everyone. Melly's.
We will make peace. We'll make peace with Cerberus when we find him a treat.
Yeah, there it is. Knight turned bad guy.
Yeah.
I caught a gut.
That's good.
Oh, okay. It says you save the dog from him after you time travel. I guess that does make it
Okay.
a little bit better. Then you have to... Oh.
Well, that's an emotional roller coaster. Oh my. Yeah. That's interesting, right? Like, actually, one thing about the Dark Souls, like, just talking about mythology, from what I have seen of the lore of Dark Souls, it's actually the most, like, reminds me the most of historical mythologies because of the weird fragmented way it's presented, because of the way in which the creatures have, like, more ill-determined kind of, like, domains of influence and power, rather than the kind of, like, you know, rock, paper, scissors, fire, earth, water, elemental thing of a lot of, like, contemporary media depictions of mythology.
Hey, you say to Seth already.
I really like my favorite person who deals with Norse mythology and language is Dr. Jackson Crawford. You can find him on YouTube. He's the Cowboy Viking. But he does, first of all, excellent translations. Absolutely A+ recommend from Old Norse. But he also talks about the fact that everyone wants Odin to be the god of this and that, and Thor to be the god of this and that.
Yeah.
They're not. Their personalities and the storytelling is very dreamlike, where you know, sometimes something happened and sometimes it didn't. The timeline, you can't really piece it together, and part of it is the fact that we only have fragments. You know, we've got Story and we've got I'm blanking on the name now.
There you go.
The Codex.
He's taking the treat.
But it's that way with a lot of mythology. Greek mythology is actually really an exception. We happen to know way more about it than we do with other mythologies, and even then it's fragmented. And the timelines are all funny and weird. I think Terry Pratchett has a bit in his book about what if all of Egyptian mythology actually had to happen at once.
Yeah.
You know, and there are 5 different things trying to drag the sun across the sky. Mythology is different. So is Dark Souls then kind of Norse inspired if it's got a dog named Sif? Or a wolf named Sif? Oh yeah.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I think it has some more, Norse flavors.
Okay.
One of the things about like Norse myths I understand, like Nighthawks. Oh my. But yeah, like one of the things, if I understand it, like the whole like Gottadamaron with the twilight of the gods, there's some discussion about whether or not that, like, you know, like Ragnarok and stuff was because of like the people consolidating those myths were actually Christian missionaries who wanted to kind of like fold the Norse myths into, you know, and then the gods were done and something else is here, like Christianity.
Right, and Baldur is arguably the most Christ-like figure, although we don't have a lot of information about him, as with many of the gods. But Ragnarok is, as Cabecera kind of alludes to in the comments, part of a more cyclical understanding of time as well, which is... I had a professor who would talk about mythology in terms of geography. Yes, but we also went to Hell's Realm. But also Hell's Realm was the only thing that survives Ragnarok, which is how he gets to come back in the end. Anyway, yeah, so the geography of the desert is more linear. There is an argument to be made. So a lot of the Abrahamic religions see time in a, you know, you go out, you view the sands towards the end. Whereas you go into a very water-heavy environment, like the Indus Valley, and you get reincarnation as a big deal, and more of a cyclical thing. And the argument is that you've got more water in the environment, you're seeing more cycles, like the water cycle. That's just part of life, so it's how to interpret things.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of like interpretations that try to tie like religious traditions into like environmental factors. It's like when you deal with Mesopotamian myths, for instance, and you have like the tensions between the Tigris and the Euphrates. I forget which is which, but one of them is like necessary for like irrigating the farmlands, but the other one is salt water, and if it floods first, it just wrecks your crops. And so the elements of like the Mesopotamian deities being so ambivalent was a reflection of the way in which these natural cycles themselves seem very particularly ambivalent, as opposed to some of the more regular cycles of, say, the Nile. But I don't know, like, if that can explain an entire religious tradition, but it's definitely...
Yeah.
Folks have been, like, tempted to try to, like, map onto different, older belief structures.
Are we fighting our dad?
We are. So the final boss of the game called Hades is Hades. Originally because he didn't want you to escape the underworld, and now it's to keep up appearances. So sometimes he'll say things like, if only you cleaned your chambers with such ferocity. Which is probably my favorite. Some interesting things about this is that his power is to turn invisible because he has the cap of, or the helm of darkness, or the hat of invisibility, as I like to call it. Nailed it.
Oof. Yeah, you made it look easy.
Aaron.
I'm doing great.
I can tell.
Nice.
And you are also right on time with beating the game.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll just see if Thanatos is at home. And this is where the game gets you, because then you need to go and say hello to everyone. But now we escape to Greece and we die dramatically.
From his final victory, the prince in his great haste.
I can't
Oh,
skip
really?
that.
In Philippine myths. That's interesting. I know nothing about Philippine
Swiftly
myths.
passing chariot collided with him very forcefully.
How
was
so?
excited.
Taken by the sticks.
Oof.
Oof.
Oh.
But the nice thing, yeah, so then you go back home and your dad's there and sometimes he says nice things. Oh, Orpheus is singing a song about me.
Yay!
I'll just see who's home.
Here now, huh?
Oh, Thanatos is busy.
Aw.
That's sad.
Melly wants to know if you can heal yourself.
You can find food that heals you up. But then when you're at home, you're safe. You can't attack anyone. You can say hi to your dad.
That was a job well done, my dad.
It's just a lot of paperwork.
Just a lot of paperwork. If you hang around too long, eventually the shades will line up and he'll start talking to them. Yeah. Oh, here's Meg.
Oh, we gotta go look at the capes. Apparently, we have capes.
Pizza. Beauty Bam Gorgon.
Hades' bedroom is just all capes in his closet because he burns one off every time. So the first time you go to see it, Zagreus is like, "Yep, all capes." Look at. And we have a nice family portrait.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Cool.
that is nice.
What a nice ending shot.
Oh, okay, yeah. For the Philippines, it says, Cabdicera says the country gets hit by a lot of natural disasters, so it lends to the fact that a bunch of the Philippine gods are unpredictable.
That actually reminds me of, I don't know if you know the Detroit industry murals that Diego Rivera illustrated, which was, you might know Diego Rivera was actually Frida Kahlo's husband, but he eventually put in a lot of like Mesoamerican deity forms being representative of this kind of power, that power, like gods are powerful and power is neither intrinsically benevolent or malevolent. It is powerful. It can be dangerous. It can be benevolent depending on your relationship to it. And then you kind of juxtapose that to like industrialization as a force in human society.
Oh, that's really interesting. I know, oh god, I'm blanking on her name, but the author who did the Song of Achilles and Circe, I think really doubles down on it in Circe about power not being great, depending on the person who is wielding it.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Madeline Miller.
He's always
I
good enough.
3 librarians sitting here like, you
Like,
know, the book.
That was the run of Hades.
Yeah.
Thanks for humoring me and playing this game that I was just going to be playing tonight anyway.
Oh, thank you so much, Erin. Yeah, no, this was great.
Yes, Melly, I think is that the whole game?
That's what you do every time. So this is like after the main story. So when you're playing it for real, there's a story, and every time you try to escape, the story progresses when you talk to all the people who live in this house. But you really just do that over and over again. It's a bit of a grind game, and you like build up your powers and stuff that I didn't go into, all your powers and different things. Oh, and you buy one last thing. You buy decorations for the house.
That disco skull down there?
Yeah. And then sometimes Hades will say things like, the drapery was fine before.
Let's go with this one then. How about a moody blue color of some sort for the
Cool.
drapery there?
So yeah, alrighty then.
Was fine.
So shall we wind up?
All right.
Alright, well,
Yeah, well-
thanks everyone for coming. Oops, sorry. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, go ahead.
I was just going to do my spiel. Thanks everyone for coming. Just so you know, next week we will actually be meeting with the president of the TRU Gaming Club. We'll also be playing Genshin Impact, which does have a librarian in it too, who electrocutes things, which not all librarians do, but some maybe. Anyway, so yeah, that's something we have to look forward to next week. Mhm.